Man, that intro goes hard. Kyle, you outdid yourself on that, my friend. Well, welcome back, everybody. It's another episode of the Devy Dose. I am your host, Eric, at EK Baller. With me, as always, friend and co-pilot, Kyle, at KL Fantasy. Kyle, how you doing, man?
Slightly tilted today as the camera's kind of falling down, but as long as it stays on the table, I think we're good. So
we've got audio, we've got video, and more importantly, we've got very special guests, the talented CFF expert, Josh from FantasyPoints at CFF, guys. What is up, my friend?
What's up, man? I'm so excited to be on tonight, man. After that intro, I want to just run through the brick wall that's right in front of me. That's incredible. Like Marvin Harris, smoke. Like what? I mean, does it get any better than that?
That's it, man. That's it.
We don't even need to talk about we don't even talk about running backs anymore. This is awesome.
Just watch that 20 more times.
Totally. I'm ready to write another article over here. This is great.
All right, guys. So we've been going through the positions for the freshmen over the past few weeks. We did quarterbacks 2 weeks ago, wide receivers last week. If you guys didn't catch those, please make sure you do. They're on the channel. They're on the stream. They're on the podcast stream. If you're not already, please follow, like, subscribe, catch us here, catch us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you like to consume content. And tonight we're going to tackle running backs. That's what Josh is here for. Josh has got a plan. We've got his rankings. We're going to work through them. We're going to look at some data. We're going to look at some film. I'm psyched. You guys ready? Let's go. All right, you're steering, Josh. Where are we going first?
All right, first up, we got Caden Durham. So this is a guy that this whole class, honestly, this running back class was hard for me. I feel like the last few years it's been really obvious who the number one running back was, and this year that didn't pop off for me right away. But I'll tell you what, Caden Durham popped off the tape for me once I watched it. I mean, this is a kid that ran a 10-500 meter. Which is just crazy fast. Now, it wasn't like win legal, but even his win legal stuff is like 10-5s, like consistently. And that running back, that's incredible. He's 5'9", 195. For me, I look at in high school production, I looked at the 10 yards per carry mark is really kind of the mark you want to look at for guys that are going to translate to the next level. And Caden Durham hit that. The kid played at Duncanville High School, which is 6A ball in Texas. I mean, he's at the highest of highest levels. He's playing tough competition there in Dallas every week. So he checks a bunch of boxes for me in that way. I think he's also really tough between the tackles runner, especially for a guy that's only 5'9", 195. But that's really where the question marks come. Like, there's no running back for me that doesn't have question marks in this class. And his question mark for me is size, right? 5'9", 195. He's probably capped in his frame and physically he might be able to get to 205. But you can see, I mean, even this picture that we have up on the screen, I mean, he's a thick build even right now at 195. So I question whether he's even 5'9", because to be that thick, he's probably a little bit shorter than that. But man, you cannot teach speed. And there's an opening on that LSU running back room. I think overall with Logan Diggs transferring out. You do have I love Caleb Jackson. I think he's going to be a stud, but he hasn't cemented anything yet. And so maybe Caden Durham can come in there and at least get a chunk of carries this year as the RB2, potentially. So those are some of the things I like about him. But again, like there's nobody that's perfect in this class, but for me, I go for elite traits, and his 10-500 meters is just crazy to me. His speed and he's not. You can see on this film, he's just not even getting touched. And so that's hard to grade. But I do think when he does get touched a little bit, you see that he can break some tackles as well.
Yeah, I love it. Kyle, where are you at on Caden Durham?
I mean, I got to say, to start off, I absolutely agree on this class as a whole. I think it's really hard to figure out what the top is because like everyone near the top isn't really that good. Isn't really elite. I mean, they're all pretty good, obviously, but there's no Nick Singleton. There's no Cedric Baxter. There's nobody that's just like easily elite out of high school. So definitely hard to figure out the top of this class. I'm kind of more of a size purist, I think. So not huge on Durham. I do like him as a CFF weapon, but I'm not sure how he projects to the NFL. To me, he's kind of like a souped up Trey Holly, who's another LSU running back who's no longer going to be on that team for certain reasons. But yeah, that definitely opens a hole for him to take whatever role that Holly was going to have and just run with it freshman season. So yeah, I agree. Super fast, but a little too slim for my taste to have him as the RB1.
He's like, what, 18 years old? This kid's going to go into a college conditioning program. If he does succeed, he's going to be 205, 207 by the time he gets to the NFL. I am not worried about that unless they're like way overinflating it right now. And he's really like $170. You know what I mean? Like,
what if he's actually 5'7"?
Well, it's a different story, I don't know. But look, I mean, I don't think I've gotten into this class as much as you guys, but like Caden Durham's fun to watch, man. I said he's just explosive. He's running a different speed than everyone else on the field. I mean, for me, like the obvious, just because it's current, right? I just feel like a little bit like watching Devin A-Chain, not as sophisticated, not as much, of the running up the gut. Just where A-Chain's so good, like in the phone booth, right? But just the speed differential is reminiscent of that to me. So I'm excited for him. He wasn't my number one, but I totally get it.
Yeah. I mean, I think too, I think it's like, he hit a 21.9 miles per hour, right? So it's not just he's got in this inflated 100-meter time. I mean, he is really, really fast. Yeah. And I do wonder, I'm with you, Kyle. I'm actually, we'll talk about BMI a little bit because I'm a little bit of a size purist as well. But I do think the NFL is changing a little bit, like you have guys like A-Chain, you got Jahmyr Gibbs. I mean, the two top assets were right at 200 pounds this year. I mean, so, and I just wonder if the workhorse running back is going by the wayside as far as what we know of it. And, Caden Durham, he can't catch out of the backfield too. So I think that's a plus for him, but we'll see what happens. It's an interesting class for sure.
I wasn't super impressed with his receiving ability. I don't think he's like that refined as a route runner as some other guys in this class. And then the other thing that really kind of bounced off the page to me was that he just kind of bounces outside a lot. Like obviously he has that speed in high school football and he can just kind of do it all the time, just erase angles. But I don't know if he can do that in the SEC.
Yeah, I will say like his outside runs though, like he's not just running outside. He's actually taking angles. And he's actually pretty efficient, I think, with his movements. Like I guess I saw something a little bit different on tape. Although he was running outside or running inside, and then, he wasn't. To me, he wasn't just bouncing it outside because he was faster than everybody. He would start up the middle and then kind of weave his way more. But I don't know. We'll see.
More to be revealed. I'll just say, if the kid really can run a 10-2, then he might be able to do that in the SEC, right? All right, moving on. What's next, sir?
Yeah, next up, man, I got Nate Frazier, and this is another guy that I don't think there's anybody that doesn't have a flaw in this class. But this guy, man, I mean, you got him listed here, 5'9", 206. I mean, this is a kid that's another super explosive guy, ran 10.5 800 meter. I think that shows up on his tape as well. I mean, he's got some great second level movement. He's got some burst. The big question mark for me, I mean, and in the All-American game, he caught like a 58-yard pass down the sideline and the Army All-American game. And I like that. Again, he played at Mater Day. He's playing against good competition. So on his film, he's playing against Bishop Gorman, other top schools there in California. So both of these guys that I have here, and I care about this, high school competition matters to me. And these guys are playing legit dudes. My big thing with Nate Frazier is you see the 6.4 yards per attempt. And he had like 500 yards rushing this year. Like I just question the production at the high school level. And one of my mentors in this space, Wes Huber, he's done a lot of research on this, and guys that aren't producing at a high level in high school kind of struggle to do that at the college level. And so I just wonder if Nate Frazier can be that guy that takes over and really produces in college. And he's going to go to Georgia where they're not going to ask him to do that. And so I feel like we're always going to have that production question mark with him, whether he can carry the load.
What do you think, Kyle? You're a little. I liked him quite a bit, actually, but relative to the class, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just slightly. I mean, he has him 2, I have him 3, so same tier definitely. But to me, okay, those stats are different from what I found on the internet. But maybe I should have checked his film for his stats.
Did you have higher stats for him?
No, I had less. But whatever. Oh, this is junior season. Okay, never mind. I was looking at senior season stats. But yeah, I mean, Frazier, like, not a super big producer at the high school level for sure. But he was just like a camp standout all the time, a 7v7 standout. He's a guy who played wide receiver up until his midway through his junior season. And then had to take over that running back role because of injury, and then just fell in love with it and just stuck to running back. He definitely has that speed, that pass catching that kind of shows through from his days at wide receiver. I think he's kind of maybe a slightly bulkier James Cook. I mean, that's kind of the role you want to see him fulfill at Georgia, and I think he can do it. We are obviously going to play the long game with Frazier because it's hard to get snaps at running back at Georgia, especially early on. But I think from a Devy perspective, if you're looking at guys to hit into the NFL, Georgia's a great place to look.
If he's fast, Daiju and Edwards, then I would be excited at that. I
think it's possible.
He's physical, man. I mean, I didn't catch the thing that he'd been playing wide receiver, but I thought he's one of the tougher runners in here that I watched. Definitely some ability to create on his own. Tough to take down. I love seeing that, man. One of the big flags for me is if you do see guys going down, first contact over and over again. I just feel like that archetype rarely succeeds at any of the higher levels. But I liked a lot of what this kid did. So I actually liked him slightly more even than Durham. But
yeah, I'm with you in that too. And it's if he would have had the high school production, if he had 1,000 yards, I'm
right.
That's my only question mark is why he's so good, right? His highlights are. So it's why didn't they just feed him the rock? And I know that it's Matter Day, right? I know they have other running backs there that are younger that are also very good, but it's still this guy's so good.
Yeah. Yeah. You'd like to see 1,200 yards this senior, right?
Yeah.
All right. Any more parting shots on this guy, or should we keep it moving?
Nah, we can keep it moving. Yeah. My next guy I got is a guy that Quentin Martin. And I mean, when we show his highlight films, it's going to be a lot of him catching passes because it's 53 catches right here, 764 yards. I mean, this guy's just an athlete. He's 6'2", 200 pounds, but he's got a big frame. I imagine he's going to get up to 215, 220 in college. He's working with Jawan Sider, right? I mean, he's a great running backs coach, great at identifying talent there at Penn State. But this kid, I mean, he's very raw as a runner. I wouldn't even say he's a great runner. He kind of reminds me of Donovan Edwards in the sense of what he's elite at is pass catching. I mean, and he's running legitimate routes. I think he could be a starting wide receiver at Penn State one day. I mean, that's how good he is as a route runner. And I just think when you look at that type of stuff and you look at kind of translating to the NFL, I mean, this is the type of guy that he's just got an elite trait. And I think in this class where there's guys, you're going to see a theme with my guys is that I have him ranked high because I'm going to go off an elite trait if there's not going to be some dominant running back in this class. And Quentin Martin, his super strength, his superpower is his receiving ability. I mean, yeah, again, his route running is better than I've seen from most wide receivers. It's crazy. So I really liked him. I mean, I question the talent level he's playing against in Pennsylvania. but you can't deny that he's a good wide receiver and a good receiving back out of the backfield. And he's got some power to him too. Yeah, so I'll stop there with him.
Loving it. Kyle, you're pretty high on him too, right? I didn't notice your ranking.
RB2 for me. I love Quinton Martin. He checks almost every box for me. I mean, size, long speed, agility, receiving. He's got everything I want in a running back. I just have a few issues. The first of that is like, I'm not sure he's a running back. Like, he kind of looks like a linebacker. He has some really impressive like linebacker snaps. A great defensive film. He was an athlete in 247's database for most of his recruitment. So that worries me. I do think a switch of sides could be in his future. Going to Penn State obviously is a little bit of a concern to me, not because of like the lack of coaching or anything, but just because of the guys in front of him. And I do think we end up with another year of one of those guys after one were to go pro this year. So I do think he might have to wait if he stays in Pennsylvania. But other than that, I mean, I love this kid. Like, if those two things weren't true, I think I'd have him as my RB1. But yeah, just the receiving ability is insane. Like, a superb athlete, was a great basketball player in high school too. So just like awesome prospect.
Yeah, Kyle, to your point, I did see that they're going to try to get him on the field this year. Like, some of the 247 writers felt like he might be a guy that contributes early just because of his receiving ability. So that is interesting that they are trying to find a role for him potentially in that offense.
Yeah. I mean, they could put him outside and he might be better than what they have.
I mean, seriously.
Probably is.
I mean, I don't know if EK, if you've watched any of his film, but I was shocked at how good of a receiver he was.
Yeah, honestly, that was my main gripe against him as a running back. So just like all your highlights are receiving.
I mean, watch this. Watch this one right here. Like, he's just gonna juke this dude out of his pants.
Yep. No.
I mean, like, what is he
really
doing?
Nice slant. Yeah.
I don't know why he's not playing wide receiver, to be quite honest. I mean,
God, and their wide receiver room is not good. I don't know if they got any like transfers this year. I haven't caught on to yet, but last year it was unimpressive at best. But
yeah,
I don't know if that's a development issue or recruitment issue because they keep bringing in 4-stars and then they just die on the roster. Suppressing. But what I was thinking though is, I mean, look at Katron Allen's receiving numbers from the past couple of seasons. Man, if they put this kid in that role, Katron Allen's not even that explosive, like, right, you know, in the grand scheme of things. Quentin could eat in that role, and that would be a lot of fun. But Allen's good too, so that's the thing. Is that, you know, I don't know. Are they going to run the ball like 800 times this year? Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah,
like you see Drew Allar throw it a little bit, but all right,
yeah. It's good.
Anything else here, guys, or keep it going?
I got nothing else. You guys, anything, Kyle?
The shake.
I don't think so. Okay. All right. My number 4. So we got Cameron Davis here. And I mean, Cameron Davis is a guy, he's a quarterback in high school, right? I think he played most of his career, I thought, at like 200 pounds.
I skipped Lyle, I think. No,
that's all good. We'll go with Davis. It's fine. Yeah. But so Cameron Davis, I mean, he's a guy in high school, right? Played quarterback there in Georgia, I believe. Could have been Alabama, but anyways, played over there. I mean, he was a great high school quarterback, and I mean, the thing that jumps out on film with him is his feet. I mean, he is so quick and so agile. You know, it's a lazy comp, but he really does remind me of Cam Akers coming out of high school, as far as like a guy, former, you know, just a ridiculous athlete playing quarterback in high school. And you know, Mike Norvell, running backs, like, he's great at identifying running backs, right? I mean, even when he was at Memphis, he's got 2 or 3 guys that are in the league, and still playing. And then, you know, this last year we had Trey Benson last couple of years. So, I mean, if there's one thing that Norvell knows how to do, is to identify running backs. And Davis is, you know, he is on campus, and right here, right, he's at 220. I mean, that's a great size coming in, right? And he'll probably, you know, either play at that or 215. And so if he maintains his footwork and that quickness that he has, I mean, he's going to be a really good running back. I do question whether it can take, guys that are transitioning from quarterback. It's different, right? Running as a quarterback than running as a running back. I played both of those positions, and it was just a different deal running from the pocket versus, running as a pure running back. So yeah, that's my only thing is like, how does that actually translate? And then 220 for him. He seemed a little slower, honestly, in his senior film than his junior film to me. So I just wonder if some of that weight isn't too much weight for him, if he needs to slim down a little bit. But that's just me. We'll see.
Yeah, I mean, I have him as my RB1. I mean, me, he's the most complete of the guys in this class. Like, he already has NFL size to me. He has like NFL like agility almost, like the footwork, like you said. He's fast enough, in my opinion. And I do think a lot of the questions are fair, especially if you're just watching high school tape. But you kind of go to the 7v7 tape and whatnot, and he's playing wide receiver and he's out there and he's running routes, and the routes don't look bad. They definitely look like a guy who could be a third or fourth receiving option out of the backfield in the college level. And just the power and the vision as a runner, though, are just like so much better than a lot of the other guys in this class to me. I think he's one of the few guys who can really like kind of knock somebody over and just keep going. And I think he will fit really well in that Florida State system.
Yeah, I agree.
Big man, run fast. That's what I'm seeing here.
That's all I
always
need.
A good thing. Yeah. Look, it's a pretty good place to start. You know what I mean? See what happens. See if you can get on the field. What's that backfield look like without Benson this year?
You got Roydell Williams coming in from Alabama, but other than that, I mean, it's pretty cleared out. I mean, I don't see anybody else is going to give them a ton of competition.
They got Jalen Lucas from Indiana, who's one of my favorite backs.
Oh, he's good.
Smaller, but super.
Yeah. The totally different back, though, than
right.
Than Cam Davis, right? He's like 180.
Yeah.
It's
probably not taking the 1 and 2
And I will say, yeah, and Norvell loves to run that 2 running back system. So it'd be, I think, Roydell that he'll be competing more with for snaps than a Jalen Lucas.
Yeah, you'd have to think Roydell gets first bite at the apple as the vet, but I don't know. He's a competent running back for college. I don't think he's a special talent though at this point. He's good at Alabama, but yeah. Kyle, do we have a card for Lyle?
Dude, Lyle is like his RB7.
Oh,
unless I'm tripping.
He's 4th. You had him as 4.
Yeah, I changed it up, but it's okay. We can go in the order, and we can talk whatever, so it's fine. It's not a big deal.
We got a show sheet. We're gonna follow the sheet. All right. Spoiler alert.
Screw the sheet.
Yeah.
That's the wrong guy. Sorry.
No, it's all good. We got who's next up on that one?
He's got Lyle in there somewhere.
There we go. He's probably number. This is fine. Taylor Tatum's great. We'll talk Tatum. Yeah, Taylor Tatum. I mean, he's the guy that on 247 I think is their RB1.
Yes.
And man, you look at Tatum's tape, and he looks like a good running back. And so it's hard to ding him on anything, but I just don't see anything that he's like elite at. And here's again, I'm from Texas. I've lived in Florida. So I just know some of these areas. I'm not a huge fan of East Texas football. And if you're not, 7.7 yards per carry to me isn't great in that area. And so that kind of hurts him a little bit in my view, but he's such a good athlete, right? He's probably going to play baseball in college. So he's a multi-sport guy. He's a good running back. You turn on his tape and Everything he's doing looks good. He's like 5'10", 205, so he's got good size. So it's hard to really ding him on anything. I just go, man, where's the elite traits with Taylor Tatum? And that's why I've just kind of pushed him down here. But I do think, look, he's going to OU. Gavin Sawchuk's probably the main guy that he's gonna have to compete with for carries, but I could see Tatum getting on the field very early there OU, and then games on at that point. So because I do think he's a good run. I like him as a running back. I just question his upside at the position overall.
I thought he had some nice pass catching snaps in this film. I mean, that was the only thing that really stuck out to me, that it just open field ability. Like, it feels like these guys rarely get a hand on him. It's a question if he could break a tackle, because he doesn't have to in this entire highlight data. So just don't have information about it. But, Kyle,
overall,
good.
I just thought overall too, like when he does take on contact, I think he lowers his pad level well. I mean, he does some of that well. I mean, I think he's a really good running back. Anyways, what do you got, Kyle?
I mean, he's a good player. Like you said, there's nothing really elite about him to me. So I did push up some other guys that I did see something elite with. So he does fall to like RB10 for me. But yeah, I mean, there are definitely things to like. I mean, he's good all around. He's pretty instinctive with the ball in his hands. He does shrink to contact, which is pretty good. But I do think a lot of the times he runs a little too upright sometimes. That annoys me. And I mean, that's definitely something that plagues high school prospects. But when you're in the top 10, we get to pick those hairs. So yeah. I mean, I think he's good all around, but there's just nothing elite to me, and so I'm not gonna rank him super high.
Yeah,
got it. What do you guys think about Sawchuk? Do you think Sawchuk is Sawchuk high level talent?
Not for me. I don't think any of those guys are.
And not for me either. I think he's a good college back, but I don't see anything that Tatum can't do.
Right. Yeah. So maybe he has a shot to get some opportunity there. And I think that offense is going to be pretty good. I mean, Jackson Arnold looked great last year.
I'm curious what that offense looks like without Jeff Levy. Because they just did not get the running back the ball when Levy was there. So I'm not sure if they're going to like lean on the running back a little more. I don't know.
Who's the new OC?
I wish I could remember.
Is it in-house guy? We did this a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, I can't remember either.
Yeah, I think it was an in-house guy. I don't think they brought someone in from outside.
Yeah,
but
it's Seth Luttrell.
Okay,
that's right. It is Seth Luttrell
guy. He's a super air raid guy.
Yeah, but I mean, he's had a top 5 rushing attack, I think, a couple years in a row there at North Texas. I mean, he midway through the 2021 or 2022 season, he switched up things quite a bit because he just realized I got a lot better running backs than I did once Mason Fine left. I think he kind of realized, and Jalen Darden, those guys, like he just didn't have the horses, and so he started running the ball quite a bit. But he loved to split carries among his guys. I mean, he had Ayo there. He has another guy I think it's at South Carolina now, and I'm blanking on. He's hit 3. Kaika Ragsdale was there as well. Anyways, but he would split the carries a ton between those guys. So we'll see. I mean, maybe he rotates it there at Oklahoma, or maybe just airs it out and goes back to air raid, because that is his background for sure. And when he had Mason Fine, I mean, he was killing it. But we'll see.
I think Tatum's a better pass catcher than Sawchuk or the other kid there. His name I can't remember. Okay.
Barnes.
Looks like Devontae Barnes. K'Wan Lacey. Josh, what you got?
Yeah, I mean, he's another guy that's from the Dallas area. And man, on film, like I love his film. Like I think he's a great pass catcher. He's even splitting out wide and actually running legitimate routes. I love how physical he is when he runs the ball. I mean, he's a guy that on tape, I mean, his frame is pretty slender. All right, he looks pretty tall. And so even like I was questioning whether he's 6'2", 295, and I actually went to the Missouri website and they have him listed at 5'11", 194, which actually looks a lot more in line with what his frame is right now. And so that does ding him a little bit for me that he's not 6 foot 205, or he's just not 205, probably mainly. But as far as a runner, like he's got great contact balance. He's a good pass catcher. I mean, he's playing in a similar area to Caden Durham, so I do like the competition there that he's playing against. So everything on film I loved, and man, Eli Drinkwitz, man, he loves his running backs. So, and he will feed them the ball both as a pass catcher and as a runner. And so if he can, get that backfield and, maybe not this year with Carroll coming in and Nate Noel, but he can get that backfield in 25 and he'll have the opportunity to put up stats in the SEC. So he could prove his worth. And look, Alabama really wanted him too. And he chose Missouri. So I think he's a very good back. And I'm excited to see what he does in the SEC.
Love it. I think Kyle and I both like Lacey quite a bit too. Kyle, what do you got for Lacey here?
Yeah, I have him 3 spots low. I think both of us, me and Josh, have him like way above, the recruiting services. So I think we're both in lockstep in the fact that we think he's better than what he's rated. And I totally agree. I mean, there's not a ton to hate on. I think he runs with power, but he also has been clocked at like 21.5 miles an hour.
Yep.
And he can catch the ball. Like, this is everything Drinkwitz wants in a running back, and I think he can easily step into the system and be the guy going forward, even if it's not this year, like you said.
Yeah, I didn't realize Noel was there as well because he's also a good college running back. So
yes,
you got a couple of vets that are, and Noel's not a pass catcher, so maybe that's
a bunch of mess
on. I don't know.
Well, yeah, it does help Lacey that he's there in the spring. I think he's an early enrollee, and so we're gonna find out quick. He's got a similar build to Jaden Blue over at Texas, and so I'm very interested. I mean, this kid, I think he can get up to 205, and if he does, man, I mean, you see it. He's breaking tackles here. The more I need to stop watching this film because the more I like it, the more I watch it, the more I like it. And
a lot more.
Yeah, I'm like, no, stop. You can't do that. But he also ran a 10,800 meter. So again, that's right in line with 21.5 miles per hour. So, he checks off a lot of boxes.
Yeah. I like that.
I guess I can't say anything about running backs at Missouri when Cody Schrader had Heisman votes. So
yeah, D2 running back. Eli can turn anything into gold.
It's a heck of a system to be the ball carrier. Okay. I guess we'll backtrack now.
Jordan Lyle. There we go. Oh, Kyle, you like him too. Okay. This makes me feel better. He is my RB4. And look, he's listed at 6 foot 180 on here, right? I think he's 190. I've been trying my hardest. I'm actually a huge Miami fan, which I probably shouldn't say because it's making me sound like a homer here. But I'm trying to find out whether he's actually 190 because he looks thicker than that to me. So I'm trying to get some verified weight on him. But man, his film is just incredible to me as a running back. I mean, his contact balance is elite. He's got 10.6 yards per attempt, which he plays at St. Thomas Aquinas. I mean, they're a national powerhouse and they play a national schedule. And to have that kind of yards per carry, and he's doing that against elite competition there in Miami. And again, across the country is incredible. I mean, you watch him run on film and he just checks every box as a runner to me. But if he was like 200 pounds, then I would have him I'd have him higher just because I love his running ability, and I think he'll be able to catch the ball fine. Everything he is on tape is a screen pass, but to be honest, like in the NFL, I mean, most of what they're getting is screen passes and dump offs. So I'm not too concerned about that. But I love Jordan Lyle as a runner, and I think he's going to fit with what they want to do there at Miami.
I do like him too. We're not to the couple of guys where I highly disagree with you, but we'll get there later, I'm sure. Yeah, I mean, it's crazy that we can't have these high school recruits like step on a scale in front of a camera, and because like everybody has a different weight for this kid.
Yeah,
On3 has him at 190, 24/7 180, ESPN 185. On3 used to have him at 202 at one point. It's just like makes no sense. But yeah, I mean, he runs the ball really well. He, like, obviously, like you said, incredible stats, over 10 yards a carry at a national program is super impressive. Really took over that backfield, which isn't something that happens often at these high level programs. Like Mater Dei, like say Thomas Aquinas, like IMG, there are usually 2-3 guys in the backfield, and Lyle really kind of took over, obviously running for 1,300 yards last year. So yeah, I think he's a great back. I am concerned about his pass catching, but I think this is kind of a wide open room that he's walking into with like Citizen coming off that nasty injury, and not a ton of guys there otherwise. So I think he can be an early contributor and continue that into the later years of college career.
Yeah, the film's fun, man. This kid creates a lot on his own. Just a lot of agility, awesome balance. There's that one play earlier where he just, spun around 180. Basically does that, but spun around 180 degrees and then up and then into the end zone with like 3 defenders around him. Definitely has some talent, man. I'm excited for him. And do you guys like Mark Fletcher though? Do you think Fletcher is the guy there, or do you think Lyle can take the reins?
Yeah, I mean, I do think Mark Fletcher's the guy there. He is coming off of injury, though, and he got injured quite a bit this last year. I mean, some shoulder injuries, a foot injury to end the year. In high school, he had some shoulder injuries. So I just kind of wonder with Mark Fletcher, less about his ability and more about his ability to stay on the field, to be honest. That's what I worry about more than anything with Mark Fletcher. And look, I don't think Mark Fletcher is going to be like a really good NFL back. I mean, he's too slow. And Jordan Lyle, I think, again, if he can get up to 209, 210, I mean, I think he can be an NFL back for sure.
Yeah, he's got the speed and he's got the other assets. Definitely. All right. Anything else, Kyle?
Nope.
Mr. Riley.
Yes, there we go. There's our disagreement. Yeah. To be honest, I love this kind. I'll let you talk quite a bit. I mean, look, I like that Kevin Riley is a one-cut runner. I will say part of my ranking with him is less about what I see on film and more of what I feel like both Mario Cristobal and Nick Saban really wanted this dude, like bad. And I think both of those guys, both of those teams have been able to identify running back talent in the past. And I think there's something to be said about them. And this is a little bit of me trusting not even my own eyes, but their evaluation. I mean, the lengths that Nick Saban went to I won't tell the rumors that I've heard, but the lengths that he went to get Kevin Riley on that squad is pretty crazy. And so, look, I don't know. Again, there's not a lot of elite guys in this class. So Kevin Riley could, and he's got a big hill to climb there at Alabama to be able to get on the field. But I don't know. I mean, again, those two guys are good talent evaluators. And so I'm going to trust them a little bit here. And I do like that Riley's a one-cut runner. He gets north-south really quick. But we'll see the yards per carry there. I don't love 6.2 yards per carry, a lot of that stuff. So, Kyle, what do you not like? Why don't you give us that?
I hear with the Saban thing, but he went to Tuscaloosa High School. Like, if you lose out on a 4-star in your backyard, you're gonna look like a fiend. So you do kind of have to get guys. Like, that's what made Tennessee suck for so many years, because we couldn't get the talent in our own backyard. But I'm projecting now. Anyway,
Making it about you.
I do like a lot of the running backs in this class, and Riley just kind of isn't one of them. I like his compatriot Daniel Hill more than him personally. I think Hill has more multifaceted ability. He can like catch the ball, whereas Riley never really used in the passing game. Kind of more of an I-form offense, just kind of turning around and giving him the ball. And I think that's why he had so many yards, but yards per carry in the 6s in both his junior and senior seasons, which is very unimpressive. And when we're talking about, top 10 running back recruits. So I think those things are some of the biggest worries for me. Like I said, just not ready for like the offense of the current. Not used as a pass protector, not used as a receiver, basically just like giving the ball up the gut, which, I mean, there is a role for that at the old Alabama. I totally forgot Saban retired for a second. I don't think that's near as much of a deal in Kalen DeBoer's offense, actually. I don't know. I just find it hard to see him having a role at the level he is at now. I mean, there's always room for growth with these guys. We're talking about 18-year-olds, but I just don't see a full skill set in an NFL offense right now.
Yeah, I think he looks like a good rusher of the football for sure, and he showed some ability from what I've seen. But I hear you about the diversity. I think he's caught one pass so far, and we're probably through 2/3 of his season highlights. Looks athletic.
Yep.
Okay, and you guys both explained your positions fairly well. Oh, is this another one you're going to take umbrage with, Kyle? Yes.
Yeah, there we go.
Josh on this one.
We can talk this one.
Let's tag team him.
Yeah.
Josh.
And Gibson's actually my RB8, and Riley's my RB9, but splitting hairs there. But Jared Gibson, man, I mean, this guy, look, he's an IMG Academy, right? He's a guy that was a youth star and then went over there to IMG, which is fun. And I think he's got good feet. He's got good vision. He's got some explosiveness to his game. I mean, I like him overall, Jared Gibson. I don't think he's like crazy. I mean, he was ranked pretty high for most of the year on 247, and they dropped him. And I get it. I will say, like, again, Tashard Choice is a guy that he's been able to identify a few running backs in his day. And one of them, Jahmyr Gibbs. I'm not saying that he's Gibbs at all, but I do think that he's going to come into a room and start too, right? These guys, they know what they're doing and identifying running backs. And Gibson's the one that they wanted from really, really early on in the recruiting process. And so I think they got all that. And the early returns out of camp are that this guy's outworking everybody in the room. And I think the intangibles aren't the things that we can see on film. But when you hear about a dude that's a hard worker, I think that matters, because I do think he's a good running back overall. And I think he's got the frame to add some weight here. And I think he'll get up to 210, 215. And again, I think he's got a 41-inch vertical. I think that shows up on his film. As far as his explosiveness goes, I think you can see that in some of his runs. But we'll see. Hopefully he doesn't get lost. I mean, he's got a lot to overcome in that backfield between CJ Baxter and Jadon Blue. I don't know how he gets on the field very early, and that's maybe ultimately where he gets stuck.
I like his film, man. This kid's wicked explosive.
Yeah.
Of the group that I watched, again, I didn't go as deep as you all did. He was one of the tougher, more aggressive runners I watched. Like, he's one of the only kids I watched in this group that, some plays where he ran some guys over, or really went after people. I thought that, and the athletic ability and the explosiveness, I was kind of impressed with his rushing ability. Obviously, the stats weren't really what you were talking about looking for coming from high school, but I don't know. I thought there's some nice traits on the film. So I'm definitely terrified he just doesn't get on the field. I mean, that's a real concern. So, what did you see that you didn't like, Kyle, or do you just think he's not going to get to play?
I'm also terrified about him getting on the field. I think he'd probably be like one tier higher, if not for that. Probably like in the RB 10 to 12 range, so right there with you guys. But the other thing that really worries me is a lack of shown receiving ability for guys who aren't like super monster humans. I do want to see receiving ability if you're not, 6'2", 220 coming out of high school. So like 9 receptions in the senior season, a little worrying for me. He is another guy who played a lot of 7v7 though. So, I mean, that is a encouraging sign. So maybe I'm wrong on that, but he does have good bursts. He does shake defenders pretty well. I'm just, concerned about Texas is mostly the reason that I have him significantly lower than you guys. I think I'd have him in the same range if not for that.
Yeah. I mean, would it shock you guys if by the end of the year he's playing ahead of Blue?
Yeah, because
yes,
because Tashard Joyce just compared Jadon Blue to Jameer Gibbs. So,
oh really? I like Blue, by the way.
He's like they do it differently, but I could see him having the same kind of upside. I'm like, dang.
Well,
so
that makes me excited that I still have some Jadon Blue bags in my Fantasy Canton leagues.
Yeah.
Hopefully he gets some of that role because it was disappointing watching him basically not play the first 2 years of his career. Tough hit
for sure.
Yeah. I would be surprised just because Blue's a junior at this point. Like if we were talking about last year, then I maybe wouldn't be surprised. But I mean, he's had so many 2 years in the system. Like he shouldn't get jumped by a freshman, unless that freshman is Baxter level, and I don't think Gibson is.
Yeah.
All right. So Kyle, that was your top 10, right, Josh? Do we cover?
I think we got one more.
Peyton Lewis.
Yeah. So Peyton Lewis, I mean, I put him in here basically because he runs a 10-500 meter.
That's a good reason.
And he's 6'1", 197, and the kid's gonna be 215, like that. I mean, he's got a big frame, and I mean, also his like 60 meter is like you ran a 6.73. He was a national runner up. I mean, this guy's got elite track speed. So, again, he's going to be 210, 215. The only reason I don't have him higher, to be quite honest, is because I went to high school and middle school in Virginia, and the type of competition that he's playing down there in Salem is so bad. I mean, he's bigger than his offensive lineman, basically. And so it's just hard to tell. I mean, it really, for me, I compare it to like, how do we know that a G5 player is going to be a good P5 player when they transfer? Like, it's hard, right? Like, there's levels that you go up. And I think that Peyton Lewis is going to have an adjustment period. But dang, I love the way, and I'm curious what you say, Kyle's a Tennessee guy, but like, I love the running backs that they recruit. They just recruit guys with traits, and like if they hit, they hit. But like you got Jalen Wright that's getting a lot of love, right, in the NFL draft scene because he had traits and he produced. And then you got the guys in the backfield now, and I think Peyton Lewis. I mean, golly, if he can do what he did in high school, like this kid is going to be But I could see him being on RB1 in this type of class, just because he's so his burst and his speed is just incredible, and he's going to be 210, 215 at least. I'll let you take it from here, Kyle.
I mean, I definitely agree with the traits. I mean, I had him even lower before I kind of went through and just double checked everything, and I was like, wait, this is Jalen Wright. I should move him up a little bit. But the level of competition, like you said, is a huge factor. And then also like what he was asked to do. This is another I-form 21 personnel team. Lines up and gives him the ball every single play. That's why he has 2,000 rushing yards this season. And I mean, but he does like display good things rushing the football. He's patient. He's bursty. He has good contact balance. I would love to see him lower his pads more,
Mm-hmm.
but that's one of my biggest gripes. And then also the landing spot at Tennessee. He's not going to be asked to do anything his freshman year unless he's much better
Mm-hmm.
than he looks on film. I mean, and then maybe even his sophomore year too. Like Tennessee keeps doing this, recruiting like super fast, super bursty guys at running back and wide receiver, and then they just don't ask them to do much. Like a lot of year
Yeah.
1 zeros there last year at wide receiver. Selden didn't get on the field until really the bowl game. So Sampson 2 years ago under Heupel wasn't super on the field as a freshman. So yeah, I just don't see him as an early producer. I don't see him, and then I kind of struggle to see him as a sophomore producer because of the guys on this roster, whether it be Cam Selden, Dylan Sampson, or even like Khalifa Keith from last year.
Mm-hmm.
So
It's interesting too, Kyle. Like watching his film, like he doesn't even run full speed half the time.
yeah,
Like he got caught on one
He's
over.
patient.
Yeah, but it's almost like he's just like he runs however fast he needs to run to get to the end zone. It's pretty funny to watch. It's like because you see some of it where he like bursts and it's like holy cow, this guy's got a whole nother gear. That's interesting.
He's
to watch.
literally beating up on kids that he outweighs by 20 pounds on every one of those snaps. So
Yeah,
but yeah,
he likes he slows down into his cuts a lot too.
Yes, early in that film, I think it was like the first or second one where he reminded me a little bit of Branson Robinson back in the day, who used to like have to really decelerate on his cuts, and I was like, so I went and watched all of his film to go like just on the cuts. I was like, is he going to decelerate on every single one that much? And I was like, because that'll get me too, as if I see that too much. And so we'll see, man. Again, I put him in here. I put him at 10, just on the fact that he's going to be 210 and he's going to run a 10,500 meter. And there's not too many guys that do that.
That's a wild speed score right there, really. I mean,
yeah.
But so maybe you don't see him on the field for a year or more. I mean, if Selden does develop, right? And we both like Sampson a lot. I mean, I think he's
I love Sampson too. Yeah, he's very good.
So
as long as he can pass protect.
All right, Kyle, you want to maybe just touch on a couple of guys that were in your top 10 that didn't quite make it into Josh's. I don't want to go through the whole thing, but maybe your two guys that are the most important to you that we have to talk about.
Sure. I think the first one is James Peoples, going to Ohio State. He's the RB7 on 24/7. I think he's a very good athlete. He has good size coming out of high school at 5'9", 200. Runs with power and speed. Fits both those roles to me, and I think he does have some pass catching chops that I really like. And really, Ohio State kind of just like put him on the pedestal and like said like this is the guy we want. Like they were going after like guys like Chauncey Bowens too, and ended up prioritizing Peoples that came down to the brass tacks, and everybody was really trying to figure out which schools they were going to. They made a commitment to Peoples, and I think that means a lot, especially in a system like Ohio State. So and played football in San Antonio, so good high level program there in Texas. So I'm excited about what Peoples can do at a high tier program at Ohio State.
What was your take on Peoples, Josh?
Yeah, I have Peoples as my RB20. I mean, look, I am like San Antonio competition overall. I'm just not a big fan of, and on film, I just struggled to see it. I think he does have some pass catching ability. I do think Jordan Lyle was the main running back in that Ohio State class. I mean, it could be wrong, but I always felt like kind of Peoples was the RB2 there. But I don't know. I put a lot of stock too in how they do against upper level competition. So like I look a lot at the All-American games and I watched a lot of Peoples because I want to like Peoples and I just don't like them. So I hope I'm wrong, to be honest. I really, really wanted to like them, and I just haven't seen a ton that just sticks out as anything as elite to me. But, you know, he's going to Ohio State for a reason. They recruit running backs really well. So I'm sure I'm wrong on this one.
I mean,
You don't have
none
to
of
be.
these
You don't
guys
have
is
to
seeing-
be.
Neither of these guys is seeing the field much before a bowl game, anyways, unless it's a 50-0 Ohio State score in the second half.
Yeah, considering Judkins and Henderson.
Oh, yeah,
the two
Judkins.
best running backs in college football. It's wild. It's gonna be a fun year to be an Ohio State fan, if any y'all out there. All right, one more guy. Let's talk about one more guy here. Kyle, who's your pick?
David Eziomume, going to Clemson, 6'1", 205 according to 247. I've seen him listed as even bigger. He's massive. He ran like a sub 10.8 in track, 100 meters. Like he's just like huge human being, run really fast. I really like that. I'm a sucker for it. So I like David Eziomume a lot. He was very effective in Georgia 6A football as well. So yeah, he looks like a man amongst boys here, and like he's playing against men. So pretty impressed by him. And he also played at tight end and wide receiver, like we're seeing right here. So some receiving ability, some route running ability.
Kyle, where do you have him?
I have Eziomume as my RB6.
He landed at Clemson. His film is so good. To be honest, I hadn't seen that he ran a sub 10-800 meter, because that would have changed things for me for sure. Because that's my one. It was my one question about. I was like, all right, what's the speed? Because like his film, man, but his film is like a ton of fun to watch. I really like him. I mean, he'll move up in my rankings for sure. Now that I know I ran a sub 10.8, because he reminds me a lot of Phil Maffa in a lot of ways, in the ways that he runs and really in between the tackles. And he should get on the field this year, I think. I mean, I don't think there's a lot behind Maffa there at Clemson, so I could definitely see him getting on the field.
Yeah, Maffa with routes.
Yes. Yeah, his film is so fun.
Yeah,
Kyle,
I called him a tractor earlier, and I think that's very fair.
It's good.
Yeah.
His nickname's the Tractor. Like, is it really? He's like, no, it should be.
That's amazing.
I liked it a lot. Okay. Usually at the end here, I ask you guys to throw out each just one deep cut. Like, Josh, like someone that you care about that's not in your top 20, but like he landed at a G5 school with a chance to produce right away, or you think he might have NFL upside because of athleticism, whatever the story is, one deep guy that you think we should care about.
Yeah, for me, I'm a CFF guy at heart, so I'm gonna have to go to my CFF route here. And this guy, I don't think he has any kind of Devy, he's not going to be valuable in Devy, but Justice Savage from Jacksonville State. So this is a kid that he's originally committed to Indiana, at the last minute decommitted. I'm pretty sure he got bumped out by Kurt Signetti there when he came in. But man, he's a good running back. Played there in Georgia, right? Good high school competition. I think you can't remember where he played, but he played at a good school there. Langston Hughes, which is with Aaron Nolan, the quarterback for Ohio State. So anyways, like he's a good running back on film. I think he's limited, I think ultimately with his speed or something and stuff like that, but that's why he's going to Jacksonville State. But Jacksonville State's got Rich Rod, and Rich Rod loves to feed his running backs. So this is a kid, play C2C, play CFF. I mean, I think that's a kid I would try to pick up in rounds 45 through 50. and just see if he can get on the field this year, or get on the field next year, and produce, because Rich Rod loves his running backs in his system, and they are fantasy gold.
Nice. You can throw up a couple of highlights. Kyle, do you have any takes on Savage? Did you get to watch him at all?
No. Did not.
Fair enough. We can't all go as deep as you do, Josh. We tried.
We can't
All right,
all
Kyle,
go to Jacksonville State.
It's true. They do like to run the ball, though, at least. So,
Yeah.
I'm kind of into it. I think that's a really good one, Josh. I appreciate it. Going on my list, 45th round.
There you go. There's worse picks to make there.
By far.
Yeah,
Right,
it's
Kyle,
always true.
Who's your deep guy?
Can I cheat? Because there's one like kind of deep guy that I want to mention that's not really that deep, but
do it.
Johan Cardenas going to Vanderbilt. I think Josh had him as RB19. I have him like just outside my top 10. He is a guy who could absolutely blow up at Vandy. He fits that like current Vanderbilt recruiting mold of being under recruited despite being a superb athlete. Vandy's just so good at finding those guys right now. Obviously, we liked Cedric Alexander in last class for very similar reasons, but I think Cardenas is an even better prospect, even more athletic, kind of very polished. Not very polished. I'll give him that. But he's just like so athletic. I feel like I can just place a bet on him and hope it works out. And then for a really deep guy, I got you the RB 123 on the 24/7 Sports Composite.
Okay.
A guy that I really love, a guy that's actually in my top 15, and that is future Oregon State running back Cornell Hatcher Jr. He is like if Kyle Lacey was going to the G5, because I guess technically Oregon State's a G5 program now. Obviously, a couple of guys in his way with Martinez and whatnot, but I mean, the dude is like a 90th percentile speed score, 5'11" and 190. Just like, I mean, I think he can blow up. I was more excited he was committed to Wyoming, but going to Oregon State, I still think he'll have some opportunities to play against lower competition and show off that speed.
Nice. Josh, did you get to watch either of these guys?
Nah. Well, yes, Cardenas, yes. His film is incredible. But private school ball in Houston is not the best competition. So it's a little bit of like it's hard to tell. I mean, he's 215. He's bigger than the defensive lineman he was playing against. So, but I do see. I mean, he is a good athlete, and look, 6 foot 215 is a great weight. It's just it's a question mark, right? Like I just don't know how he's going to translate to the SEC, and so definitely worthy of top 20, but just unsure what's next for him. And Hatcher, is that what you said? The Oregon State dude?
Yeah, the two we're watching right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean,
I got
he's going to Vandy, so Cardenas might still be bigger than his offensive lineman.
Maybe they'll run the triple option. Maybe you can be the B-back.
Yeah. Oh, boy. Well, man, guys, so on the whole, I guess the takeaway I'm getting kind of out of both of you, right? Class kind of flat, lacking at the top, has some depth to it. Now, Josh, I know you're more of a CFF guy than you are like C2C. Are you drafting any of these guys for year one production here, or are mostly these guys you'd be drafting in a dynasty format? Like, who would you be like? Where would you be targeting these guys in relation to veterans and in relation to the other position groups in this class? Like, briefly, I know it's a super loaded question. Just,
Yeah. I mean, in CFF, I don't know if any of these guys. I mean, if Keywan Lacey, all of a sudden gets some hype, then maybe him. But yeah, most of these guys are going to draft and stash type guys. So you're going dynasty or C2C at that point. But we'll see. Also, again, yeah, I mean, the rest of these guys, it's going to be hard for these guys to get on the field year one.
Yeah,
I mean, all these guys have a pretty tough path. that's another thing about this class. I mean, again, like maybe Cameron Davis, like Cam Davis shines. And so he's another one, but the path for these guys getting on the field is going to be very, very tough, in my opinion.
Yeah, the kid at LSU maybe has the best shot of the top guys we talked about. Really pretty weak running back room there. Awesome. Well, look, this has been blast.
There's nobody that.
Oh, you go, Kyle.
There's nobody that like jumps off the page, and I'm like, that guy's elite. But there's so many guys where like if they popped off, I'd be like, oh yeah, we should have seen that coming. And it's really annoying because I wish we could see it coming. But I do think there are a couple sneaky guys who could contribute year one in Power 5 programs. Jordan Marshall kind of jumps off with Blake Corum leaving. I don't think they really have anybody who's going to fill that role, kind of that bruiser role. I mean, from last, but I think Marshall's a better prospect. And then Daniel Hill going to Mississippi State. They lose Jaquavius Marks to USC. Not a lot of guys in that room. I totally lied. He's going to Alabama. I always forget French schools. Never mind.
Yeah, I do wonder with I think Marshall definitely could get off on the field if he's as good as his tape indicates. So him and Benjamin Hall, I think we'll battle that out a little bit. So it'll be fun.
Do you like Hall, Josh?
I think he's a good college running back. Yes,
he's a college back.
Yeah, I don't know about NFL, but. Yeah, it was fun to watch him in the spring game. We'll see. I know that the staff is high on him there, but
doesn't seem that fast. Just seems like
no.
number.
Yeah.
Tough to make it to the NFL with that profile, but might run for 1,200 yards at Michigan. So good CFF kid. Sorry to cut you off, poor Kyle. This has been a blast. You guys just dropped major knowledge bombs on this class, so privilege getting you on here, Josh. Josh, what do you got to plug? You're doing a package with Fantasy Points this year. You guys got something you're trying to sell, something you're trying to promote?
Yeah, and I think we have this college fantasy football package that we're going to be doing, our college football package. We're going to really be getting DFS and betting quite a bit, but in the off season, man, like best balls are, going like crazy right now in CFF. And so we're going to have rankings, projections, things like that out here soon. And then we're going to do a CFF preseason guide that I think we're going to make free. So stay with us, follow us. And I think it'll be fun. Yeah,
that's awesome. Make sure you let us know when you drop that. We'll recycle it and circulate it as much as we can. And we should get in some CFF best balls here. I haven't done one.
Yes. Do it.
No time. The itch starting.
Yep. Yeah, it's awesome.
Boo, all right, best ball.
I am
Kyle, I liked you until the end. Man. Booing best ball.
I am so much better
setting lineup so fun.
Yeah.
To be fair, Kyle, we do them because people will mock and they'll just pick whoever. But if you put you do a $5 best balls, make them be honest with their picks.
That's it. Yeah, mocks are trash. You can. It's just
I
don't know. I guess you get like a group of industry guys, but other than that, it's tough. It's a tough scene. Look, if you guys liked this content, viewers, please subscribe, follow me at EK Baller, follow Kyle at KL Fantasy, and follow Josh. He is at CFF Guys on Twitter. We try to bring you this type of content all season long, and try to get some fresh faces on this year, and really kind of grow the community here, and let the show thrive in that manner. So definitely hit that subscribe button and stay along the ride because we appreciate your support. And I don't know, Josh, it's been a blast.
Yeah,
appreciate you guys. We will see you all next time.